Hey everybody, SDM Kahuna back again, and I am joined by SDM Outcast Zero and SDM Richie. How we doing, guys?
Not bad.
Doing good, thank you. Doing good.
Little bit of a delay there. It's like, who's going to speak first? That was a
That's how efficient we are. We like to answer at the same time.
Exactly. Just in tune.
so we cut down on the roll time of these podcasts. So yeah, no, it was a pretty bad introduction. All things considered, it's like I should have introduced you one at a time. And,
You should.
It's your fault.
Okay, let's try that again. So, Outcast Zero, how are we doing, Outcast?
I am not too bad. Yeah, how's you?
I'm very well, thank you for asking.
Yeah, that's good.
Very effervescent. And Rich, aside from sitting in your massive, expansive dining hall as you were earlier, how's things going for you?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks.
Doing all right?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate. Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for having us again.
I just had to give you the in for it. You asshole. So anyway, we're back again with podcast. I do believe this is podcast number 13. Some would say unlucky for some. And given the way we started off this evening, that's probably true. I know, Outcast, you've had a few technical issues this evening. But,
oh god, I need to stop surfing all these porn sites and picking up viruses. That's what it is.
It's just not good. It's not
I can't
professional.
help myself, man.
Yeah.
You just need to stream it like the rest of us and start downloading them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not though. That's the thing. I'm just a chronic masturbator. I can't help it.
And the SDM podcast brought to you by Pornhub. If only. So yeah, that's probably alienated us from anybody who was listening to the podcast.
Or maybe it's brought in a few more viewers.
A few more, we never know. I would like to apologise to anybody who does listen to the podcast. The lack of podcast last week, and some of my recent videos will allude to the fact that I've had some audio equipment difficulties, which are now thankfully resolved, so we can continue on business as normal. And I think we're going to crack on. We've got a few stories and certainly a few good, interesting tech points and things that we want to cover this week. I'm going to start off with the biggie. I think this one we're all excited about, and that's that Konami and Kojima came out today and announced and confirmed the release date of Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, as the 1st of September this year.
I get phantom pains an awful lot.
Right, can we move on from that previous discussion topic?
It's about damn time.
Let's focus on the business at hand, no pun intended.
Yeah, I believe Kojima's come out and said that this is going to be the last Metal Gear.
Yeah, no, he was saying that but we've kind of had that before from him, haven't we?
We
It's
have,
like, yeah,
yes.
it's like, oh, there's not going to be any more Snake. That was like 3 games ago.
And somehow he's still alive. You know?
Well, admittedly, we're dealing with Big Boss. It's it's not Snake, because to be honest, 4 was kind of the last one for Snake anyway. If they were continuing it, kind of as a matter of canon, because he'd obviously aged drastically because of the Fox die virus and such. So.
Well, I mean, it might be a good thing that this is the last, because maybe you can focus his attention on maybe a new franchise, or even going back to old ones, like Snatcher and Police Knots. And
I'd die if he brought out another Snatcher. I loved that.
even Zone of Enders, I suppose, something like that.
Really,
That's
so
old school. So as long as he doesn't go back to bringing out, spin-offs with other characters like Raiden or anything like that.
God.
Yep.
Liquid Snake.
Hands up, all those in the audience who loved Raiden. No one?
Me?
No one? Didn't think so.
No.
I actually missed it. I remember this big hype about it coming out because it was the first one that wasn't PlayStation exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And then ages went past, and I was like, I wonder when that Raiden's come out. And I'd already come out, and everyone had stopped selling it. I was like, oh, I missed that boat. That was exciting.
You know what? It's like I did pick that up. I've got it in my Steam library, and I think I've got about an hour and a half in it, and it was a case I was like, this is very far from Metal Gear Solid. This is essentially Bayonetta, Devil May Cry. It's done by Platinum Games, who did Vanquish, which is excellent.
Vanquish was great, yeah.
Vanquish is an awesome action shooter game and wonderful visual style, but kind of compacting that into the Metal Gear Solid universe and a really random sense of humor as well was, I don't know, not the best received.
I think I own it on the PS3, and it's still sitting in its wrapper.
Just one for the collection, is it?
Yeah, that and Assassin's Creed Rogue, but that's a different topic. But yeah, I played a demo of that, and for some reason I found it impossibly hard. Maybe just me, but
It was a little convoluted, but kind of swing things back on track. I mean, how much have you guys been following MGS5's development? I mean, I got to say, I know saying a game looks stunning in this current climate is, you know, a kind of a moot point. There's no such thing really as a bad-looking game anymore, with a few notable exceptions. But what do you think of what you've seen
the
so
Metal Gear
far?
games have always been really good, though. You know, they've always been like, for me, up there with, be it, you know, like features that were in it or the way they looked and things like that. You know, you had like Metal Gear 4 for the PS3, which looked absolutely stunning.
Yeah, still held up well today.
Yeah.
oh hell yeah, yeah. I never played Ground Zeroes, unfortunately. I don't know. It just didn't tickle me. I know it's probably worth playing before I actually play Phantom Pain, but I think I'll wait until then and then do it all in the one hour sort of thing.
You know what? I did play Ground Zeroes on the PSP, and I didn't get on with it, but I did replay it when it came back out in the remastered collection that they brought out back on when they had that in the 360 and the PlayStation 3, because they'd amended it for twin sticks, so that was a major improvement as far as I was concerned, because obviously the original PSP only had the one thumbstick, so that was kind of a little bit limiting.
Yeah.
But
It's like, this is not the first Metal Gear game where, you know, you've been playing as Big Boss, is it? So
No.
like, Snake Eater as well was
Snake Eater, yeah, that was definitely that.
definitely, yeah, Snake Eater's, I gotta say, definitely up there with like one of my all-time favorite games of all time. That is by far and away, you know, just the survival mechanic, the food, the camouflage system. I don't think actually any other Metal Gears really beat that for a sense of kind of a complete game. I would certainly say the likes of the original Metal Gear Solid on the Why can I speak tonight? The original Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation. I preferred the story in that, and I certainly liked the setting a bit more and the characters and such.
Yeah, yeah.
But as a game and as a mechanic, Snake Eater was just awesome.
Yeah, so Metal Gear 1, like, for me, it was, the gameplay was something I'd never experienced before in a game, you know, just like the fact that it was all about, you could hide.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And, you know, the enemies were, like, amazing at finding you, because, like, you know, if you walk through some snow, they'd follow your footprints to where you were hiding and things like that.
Exactly, but
I loved that.
with the snow drifts as well, there's like the tracks would eventually disappear, so yeah, the you know, Kojima's always kind of been ahead of the curve with regards to implementing game design, I would say. He's not always got it right. I'm not a massive Kojima fanboy. That I can definitely hold my hand up and say there's some decisions that he's made that caused me to balk and, you know, withdraw as a fan. But no, I can't get over the fact that I love Metal Gear. I love the universe, the wackiness, and I think the introduction of the open world, the kind of time management, the links with the multiplayer bases, because if you've seen that feature, it's like you'll have your own mother base, and it's like, you know, you can have your equipment and your mercenaries that you're building up, and it's like I can be super sneaky bastard and actually attack your base and steal resources from it if I'm any good, and vice versa. You know, giving a much larger meta game and things like that.
It's a different take on it, isn't it?
Well, how do you bring multiplayer to Metal Gear Solid? I mean, 4 had it, but it was essentially just a third-person shooter at that stage. It didn't work. At least I didn't think it did. Metal Gear Solid Online wasn't the best effort, but I think this, where you actually still play in a stealth environment against AI, but the base defenses and the resources are all set up by the people who own them. So it's like, you know, I could like put in turrets and drones and traps and electric fences and whatnot, or I could just leave it completely open if I spend no time doing it. You know, there's options, and that I think adds a whole new level of dynamic and challenge to it. You know, you're never going to have two bases that are the same.
Well, it's one thing Kojima's always been good at doing. It's breaking into new grounds as such, you know, and not just breaking into them and doing a mediocre job either. It's like, you know, really getting in there and, you know, pulling you into it. I mean, it's like the whole thing on Metal Gear 1 where, you know, you're playing, you're fighting Psycho Mantis, and he does that whole, you've got to switch your controllers and such, and you can read your memory card and tell you what games you've been playing of, you know, the same same companies and such. It's breaking that wall, isn't it? Really,
Yeah, no,
that
there's been a lot
Kojima
of
seems to be able to do.
No, like I said, I mean, when he gets it right,
He gets it right.
it's brilliant. You know, it is groundbreaking stuff. However, when he's off the mark, he's equally as far from it. So, again, it just looks like it could be the perfect balance of the stealthy open world introduction to multiplayer and such. I'm very, very excited about it. I was secretly kind of hoping the announcement was going to be, oh, we've got some big, Metal Gear Solid 5 news, and I was kind of hoping that it was going to be, and we're releasing it this weekend, but no, September 1st. You know, that's not too far away.
It's far enough.
It's far enough.
One thing I do like is it seems it's got some pretty good special editions versions of the game. You're looking at some of them Outcast, weren't you? And you were quite impressed.
The whole replica arm and things like that. That's pretty cool. You know, for any collector of limited editions and collector editions, they're going to love that. And there is a ton of DLC, which I'm not a huge fan when it comes to collector editions. Oh yeah, here's this whole bunch of DLC type stuff. But I mean, if you're getting something physical, that's what you're paying for, is it really? At the end of the day. But having that arm, hell yeah, be good.
Yeah, they're good on a shelf.
Oh yeah, that's the arm I took, from Snake himself. Big balls.
It is. It's if you're a fan of the franchise and you're into your collectibles as we are, then yeah, it's certainly it's a nice cherry. But also speaking about the special editions, there's obviously been some photos released online about the special edition PS4 for Metal Gear Solid.
I think this is split the SDM camp, I think.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw it out there. Outcast, where do you stand on it?
It's definitely cool. But I don't know. It's one of those things that's going to be an absolute fortune, isn't it?
Well, it's one of these things. I don't think they're going to charge that much more for it.
I mean, it's literally just
bundle price, but nothing confirmed yet.
Like I said, it does look really nice, but I don't know. I mean, I have paid for limited edition consoles before. Christ, what was it? I got one of the Call of Duty games anyway. Modern Warfare 2, I think it was. I got a 360 of that, but I don't know. It is an awful lot of money for just for that type of thing. But it is cool.
What about you, Rich? Where do you stand?
I do not like it. I like the idea of limited edition consoles. I've had quite a few of them in the past myself.
You have indeed.
But on this generation, well, you didn't really get them on the PS3s, did you? But on this generation, it seems to be that Microsoft seem to know how to do limited edition consoles because most of theirs look quite nice. There's a few that don't, and I think the few that don't for them are what makes me not like this one, and it's the half and half split of red on the top, black on the bottom. And that is pretty much it. It's just literally it goes from black into that maroon, burgundy, red colour, whatever it is. And I don't like it. So you look at it and you see the top of it and you think, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then you see the bottom half and I'm like, I'm not a big fan of that.
It's not exactly over the top fancy, is it, when you think about it?
Yeah, it's like pretty much like someone's just taken the top off one and painted the red and then put it back on again.
Yeah. So it's as far as I'm concerned, there's two things I really don't like about it. One is I don't like the color choice, same as you, Rich. I don't like the red burgundy kind of color choice that they've made. I understand they're going for the same color as the prosthetic arm. I get that, but I also dislike the fact that, as Rich was saying, one of my favorite special edition consoles of all time is the 360 Gears of War edition.
Yes.
That is pretty cool. Yeah.
I love that. That is just how it should be done. It is bold, it is bright, it's well designed, it's embossed, it's multi-layered, blah blah blah, whatever. This is just, why is there no Foxhound or Militaire Sans Frontières logo on it? Come on, there's lots of artwork and resources you could put into this, and nobody seemed to bother with it. But yeah, I think
it's like, for me, it seems like they've just tried to put it out there as quick as possible and the easiest and cheapest way to do it. Because in my opinion, if you're going to do a limited edition console, you may as well go all out. It's like the Call of Duty limited edition consoles. They changed the noises and the color of the LEDs and everything that were in them, and they did the same with like the R2D2.
Or the Halo. Didn't do that one for the one of the Halo games. Actually, can't remember which one.
The Halo Reach 360.
That was cool, actually. I
The
did
kind of
like
silver and blue one. Looked
that.
like
The noises as well, brilliant.
looked like a Forerunner installation.
Yeah, it costs you a bit more money, but you know, you can charge a little bit more money for it. And at the end of the day, they don't make their money off consoles. They never do, and they never will.
And exactly, it is one of these things for the fans and for the collectors. It's like, if you want it, go out and get it. You know, it's there. You know, that's up to you as an individual to do. And it's like, if it gives you a little bit of enjoyment and, you know, you walk away from it happy, then why the hell not? But, yeah, so that... oh, excuse me. So, yeah, that kind of wraps up where we're going to go with Metal Gear Solid 5. So, suffice to say, we're all very excited about the game. Not so much about the special edition. But there's been a lot of big news out this week, thanks to GDC15 being up and running. A story I picked up on, and I don't know if you guys are particular fans of the series. I've been playing it on the PC. Is that Microsoft have been in discussion with Elite Development, Frontier Development, and are bringing Elite Dangerous to the Xbox One.
I mean, I never really followed this, but I know you did. You showed me some videos, and I know you were following it pre-release and things like that, and it was a game you were excited for.
You know what? It's like, I will go on record and say, it's like, I was a massive Elite fan back in the day. I've not been bowled over by where Elite Dangerous has gone right now. It's a fantastic space-based work simulator at the moment in time, but I will give Frontier Development 10 out of 10. It's like, they're adding more stuff, there's more content, more ships, more galaxies, and yeah, if you're willing to invest time in it, there's a phenomenal amount of depth. You know, trading, pirating, you know, mercenary work. There's multiple kind of options that you can do. You can basically be, you know, Star-Lord from... Guardians of the Galaxy. You can be Han Solo. You can be whatever famous sci-fi space captain you ever want to be. But I think it's interesting that obviously there's been an interest in it from the kind of from Microsoft standpoint to basically entice Frontier Development to bring what has always been a very PC-centric game across into the console market. And I think it's a great thing, especially with Live and the multiplayer and the integration. That, you know, this is something that's well worth. I quite like the fact that we're actually seeing these more niche titles slowly come across into the console market. We're slowly seeing the blurring of lines of, you know, you'd always have your console-centric titles. I think it's getting a little bit more general these days. That's just my take on it.
I think that's just due to the fact of where the technology is going these days. You know, we're getting closer, well, not too much closer, but we're getting closer to PC specs, you know, top-end PC specs on consoles these days. I think
that's just lost as the PC master race, listeners. That's
it's getting a hell of a lot closer than what it used to be when you're thinking about PS3s and whatnot. To be honest, I mean, we're getting there where we're getting to be able to play these type of games. I mean, Elite Dangerous. I mean, you're going to have to run yourself a decent enough PC to get the benefit out of playing that game, I would say. But I think that's the whole point. It's like consoles are just slowly becoming more PC-like, I would say.
Oh no, without a doubt, the architecture moves and everything are giving developers the flexibility and more horsepower to do that. That goes without saying. But speaking about PC developments and such, Nvidia have made some interesting announcements at GDC.
Oh yeah.
Firstly, the new Titan has been unveiled, the Titan X, with 12 gig of GDDR5 for frame buffering.
God damn.
Obviously, it's like that. For those of you who are maybe console-centric, it's like, obviously, we've had 4K TVs for a while now. They're starting to sell a bit more, but definitely where the real market for 4K exists at the moment in time, I would say, is on the home computing market, you know, additional workspace. You know, the actual visual real estate that you've got from a production standpoint is fantastic. Gaming on it, however, is proving to be an absolute nightmare just because of the sheer amount of pixels that you're having to shift. And it's quite scary. It's like, I understand, you know, PC hardware development's always been that that constant curve upwards until it implodes upon itself, where things must get more powerful, faster, quicker. But sweet Jesus, 12 gigabyte of dual GPUs on a single PCB with 8 billion transistors. I mean, Rich,
Crazy.
you have a 4K setup, and I mean, I've seen you gaming on it. So, what's your kind of take on this kind of horsepower kind of war that's going on right about now?
Yeah, well, it's in terms of like you're saying, in terms of like productivity and things like that, 4K is like really good. So if you're video editing or something like that, you get so much real estate to work on. But like I've had to take down my resolution to 1440p from 4K because it's on that borderline where you kind of want to squint when you're reading things. So for the gaming market, when I play games, the games I like to play on the PC, there's a lot of like talking and stuff like that in them. Like and I know like Outcast, you're a huge like RPG fan and things like that. So there's a lot of talking, so it's always good to have the subtitles on so you can just like glare over it and things. And
yeah,
I think it's tough to upscale a lot of that. To be, or downscale, whatever you want to call it, to be more 1080p size, because you just wouldn't be able to read it on a 4K display when it's it's that large.
Well, yeah, it's like I agree with you fully on that, because I remember the first time I saw your setup, and you were shown as the amount of white space that Google gives you, or most web pages when you're browsing in 4K, it's ridiculous. It's funny. But yeah, UI sampling and upscaling, most people who run in 4K will probably run, if it's a Windows environment, will upscale it to like 150% to make the text, moderately legible without the use of the Hubble telescope.
Yeah, it's like I don't really played much like FPS style games and things like that, but it's really good for like RTSs because I'm a big Civ fan, so I played like Civ. I've got Civ 5 and I play that all the time. And I gave that a go on it, and it was like amazing for that because you can pretty much see like half the world.
Yeah, you can
in one go, and you can still do stuff on it. So it's really good for that kind of stuff. But you do need like a monster rig to play it, and this maybe do it. But at the end of the day, what we don't want is them to release something like this. The game developer develop other games for something like this, and the people who can't fork out the $2,000 or whatever the hell this will cost you are kind of left, behind.
Exactly, and that's always the thing with PC technology. Is it's like you've got the bleeding edge stuff, you've got the leading edge, you've got probably the 60% of the market where most people who do game on PCs kind of reside. The kind of market that's been kind of diversified by like the cards like your 760s and your 960s. Those mid-range solid cards which are phenomenal performers, which nowadays it's like you're buying cards which are like, oh, this is key to run at 1080p. This will give you enough frame buffer. It's got enough, it's got enough ROPs and enough stream and CUDA cores, or it's got Mantle API if it's AMD. Sorry, what is this? The early 21st century? Sorry, ATI.
Dark Ages.
Oh god. But yeah, it's like
for me, it's like cards like this are the equivalent of a car manufacturer making their concept car.
Exactly.
Because they're not gonna like you bring out a normal like was it the 960 or the 980 was like a really good card, but it was really price effective. Is that the one you guys have got?
Both Outcast and I are on 970s at the moment.
Yeah, so basically it's a really good card, and I'm pretty sure from what I remember when I was looking at it, cost effective for what you get for it.
Yeah, no, it was for Nvidia. It was certainly one of the best pricing points they've done in a long time.
And it's like I guarantee they made more off of that than they would make off one of these, because you probably get like a handful of people to buy these, make them a little bit of money, bring out the card like yours, and they'll get 20 times the money because 2,000 times the people will buy it.
Exactly. It is one of those things that I like the car analogy. It is like it's like the hypercars McLaren, Ferrari, and Porsche have built. You're going to sell like 100 of these, tops.
Yeah, it's like they must just have a board meeting, and this must be just let's put the shits up ATI. Let's show them what we can make if we really want to.
Exactly. Yeah. This is what's physically
ATI
possible.
Must be like, well, what are we going to do? And they're like, well, let's just make money.
Well, the 295Xs the ATI do are phenomenal cards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are phenomenally expensive as well, but they're still cheaper than the likes of what the Titans have previously been. And they will, you want a game in 4K, go for it. There's a good single card to do it. I mean, there's been a lot of kind of moaning and such that, NVIDIA have been caught out by saying, like, oh yeah, well, the 970 is a 4 GB card, but only the first 3.5 gig runs at the full speed, and then the last half gig is kind of buffered down, which is why people have been noticing problems with like frame buffer and things like that. And certainly it's required a little bit more development than we initially thought. I mean, some people even started a class action lawsuit against NVIDIA about it, saying it's like misleading and whatnot. But I mean, I got to be honest, it's like the performance I get out of it. I mean, I run two 1080p monitors, and obviously I just game on the one, but it renders everything I want. It never skips a beat. Phenomenal. But like you say, if you want that bleeding edge setup, Titans, 295Xs, that's your top 1% of the PC gaming market.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, NVIDIA have also thrown their hat in the ring, and I'm a little bit, don't know quite where to kind of take this one with a new Shield console. It's like I've been tempted for a long while by one of the Shield tablets, but I can't really justify buying one.
Well, it's like you've got a decent PC, you play your games on the PC, that would just be replacing what you do on the PC.
Exactly. Why would I want to stream to device when, I've gone to the trouble of setting everything up so I can use it without interfering with the household life?
And this might just be me, but I think it looks really good. I think for one of these devices, I think it looks really nice. I really like the design they've got on it.
The case is certainly very attractive.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I don't like is the pad. It's kind of like they've taken the worst bits of the PS4 and the worst bits of the Xbox pad and just put them into one pad.
And it's like, lo, a pad was born. It's like,
yeah.
Oh
It's
no.
got it looks like it's got the size of an Xbox pad, but it's got the stick positioning of a PlayStation pad. And it's like, well, my tiny hands can't really do a PlayStation pad that well. It's not going to work with this one.
What about yourself, Abby? And then also as well, it's like Android. That's an interesting choice.
It's just one of those. For me, it's like one of those gimmicky things again. I mean, how many of these type of consoles are we going to get? It's like, and they've all kind of flopped in the past, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of like, I mean, these days we're getting all these phones out, and they're all running pretty decent, quality-wise games and whatnot, and all these little. I mean, Christ, well, you got the Ouya in the past. Where the hell did that go? And other such consoles that have just died. I mean, they are cool, don't get me wrong, but it's like you're saying, if you've got a PC, then really, what's the point,
Yeah, because like Android has been making it as the major mobile gaming device / operating system you want to get. Because like Sony's PlayStation phone, that ran Android, didn't it? That's my version of Android, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
But they, NVIDIA have said
died.
there's going to be, like Android versions of Crysis 3, Doom 3, and one of the Borderlands is going to be, released alongside it. So we're good to see what it can do.
Again, it is an interesting time, but I think what NVIDIA are going to run into, and this is just my prediction. It's not that I don't like to see innovation, I do, but I know there's a lot of griping from games developers and a lot of people who don't like the Windows-dominated PC market. However, that being said, you're asking a lot of developers. Now, let's be honest, for the past 10 years, games companies have only been surviving by the amount of money they've been making off of console titles. They've done PC releases because, well, they know there's a market for it and they want those fans to be happy. Because you will always have the PC players who do not want to play on console. They've spent a lot of money on the PC. They want to see what games can do right now. That's why you have a high-end gaming PC.
Yeah, it's like, just going back to, our first topic you're talking about with Metal Gear.
Yeah.
The 1st of September release date, that is the console release date.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to wait till the 15th of September before it's on Steam.
Yeah.
So you got 2 weeks in between, and it's like, there is no, technical reason. That is a fully commercial reason that they've done that.
Exactly. they will make more money off of the. And again, because your consoles don't require yearly, bi-yearly, tri-yearly update cycles, you buy your PC, and the last generation have taught us that 7 to 8 years is you can expect that out of a console now.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got DirectX 12 that will be coming to the Xbox One, so we should see an improved performance out of that once that API unlocks the GPU and memory access and all the little fancy and lower resource draining applications that because we saw major improvements with resource draw with DirectX 11 once people started using that, and it'll be the same performance improvement. Things are not going to look more photorealistic overnight, but things are going to require less horsepower to run, and I think that's the most important thing. But it'll be interesting to see if trying to draw people, not necessarily, it'll be interesting to see if people will jump on developing for Android in this architecture. And that's going to be key. Because game developers at the end of the day, they don't want to lose money.
Yeah, definitely. It's 50-50 whether it's a good or a bad time to be a developer these days.
Yeah, isn't it? Just we've lost a lot in the last few years. Yeah,
and they're having to pick their battles, It's like, what are we going to develop for? We can't do it all. It's too risky in this climate, so let's pick one and stick to it. And they know consoles will get the money, so that's what most of them are sticking to.
Exactly, and like it or loathe it, that's where we find ourselves.
Yeah, well, as we've discussed on previous ones, I'm a Mac user, so I'd probably have more, PC-based games if they release more of them on the Mac.
Come on, Rich. I thought we agreed we weren't going to mention that again.
Well, it's like, I know you're a huge Tanks fan, and the only reason I don't play Tanks with you just now is because there is no Mac version of it.
It cuts me deep.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is. I mean, God, we could probably speak for hours on that alone. But
yeah.
let's move it on a little bit. So I'm going to throw it out to you guys. You guys know what we're talking about. So I'm going to throw it out to Outcast to pick the next topic.
Oh God. So next topic for me, right? Okay, well, if you don't know, guys, I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan.
What?
Yeah, seriously.
When did this come about?
Yeah, I've been hiding it in the closet.
Tell me more.
With a few other things.
More of this Final Fantasy that you speak
This
of.
Final Fantasy. Yes. Well, this Final Fantasy. Basically.
Was it part of this porn talk that broke your computer? So is that what we're back onto?
Shh, no, not that. We'll talk about that another time. So, if you didn't know that Final Fantasy X and X Part 2 was brought out on the PS Vita and the PS3 for the PS3 especially for a short period of time there, I think it was last year, maybe, I can't really remember off the top of my head, but they're bringing it out on the PS4 on the 24th of April this year, which is might be something you guys are interested in. I'm not really sure if it warrants a release on the PS4, but hey, this try and make as much money as possible.
Yeah, a lot of the comments that I see on like GameSpot and IGN and stuff is the first one's always something along the lines of, when will Square stop trying to make money off the same game?
Yeah, when will they just shut up and make Final Fantasy VII again?
To be honest, like, there's got to be a reason why they've not done it, because if they released a PS4 version of Final Fantasy VII tomorrow, they'd probably break all records that any game's ever held on first day sales.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. But then, to be honest, with the amount of content that was in that game, it would take them quite a long time just to put the sheer amount of content, remaster it. I mean, that was like that a few months ago, where they're like, yes, we're bringing out Final Fantasy VII to PS4, and like every Final Fantasy nerd had like an orgasm right there, and I was like, yes, it's the PC version that we upscaled, yay! And like, oh fuck you, you bastards! but they're also releasing Final Fantasy Type 0, which was a Japan only release, and was on the
back
PS.
to Final Fantasy Online for the PS2, if you're Japan only with a hard drive.
God, I know. God. That and the whole Final Fantasy 8 mini memory card adapter thing that you got to play a little chocobo on, just the usual stuff that us Westerners don't get.
Chocobo.
It's like a gigantic golden bird that you can ride.
So you're just riding on the back of Big Bird.
Sweet. Okay, there's a mental image I'm not getting rid of anytime soon.
But yeah, they're bringing out Type 0.
Sure, Ernie, you come along for a ride too.
I I think it's only the PS3 they're bringing out for him. Am I right? Type 0? I think it's only PS3. Maybe I'm wrong. PS4 possibly. Who knows? But that's if you get that day one, which comes out on the 17th of March, you will get a special code for Final Fantasy 15 demo, which is obviously a game that everyone's waiting on just now. But there isn't an actual release date for Final Fantasy 15 as of yet, unfortunately.
I would just like to take this moment to apologise for that, people. Someone had just driven past my house on a hairdryer.
I was thinking, so not only have you moved into Wayne Manor, but you've also moved next to a dirt bike track.
You know, that's how big it is. I need to use a dirt bike to get around.
To actually get her, you're having to move to get your drink again. I'm guessing. Call Alfred in. I tried so hard not to laugh out loud. The joy.
I was just like, continue.
The joys of live recording.
Oh, yeah.
So, Ricardo, I'm going to throw the next story out to you.
Yes, for me, it is the Sony Morpheus, their VR headset / Oculus Rift style competitor. They've announced a lot of, some information based on that today. The new version, they're replacing the LCD screen with an OLED display, which means it will look really good, but it's probably going to cost like 4 times the price now.
Damn those OLEDs.
2016 is when they say they're going to release it. But one of the exciting things that I really like about it is it is capable of producing 120 frames per second, which is like 30 frames per second better than HTC's, which does 90.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what a lot of people have been wondering about is that it's like, well, how are you getting that? Because you need a PS4 or a PS Vita to use it. But Sony have unveiled that with a simple software upgrade, they can actually put the PS4 up to 120 frames a second, and that's what they want to do.
Oh my god!
What resolution is the Morpheus running at on the display?
I do not know. They don't have like that much. They can probably find it if I troll the internet looking for it, but there are no stats that I can see. Oh no, I'm totally lying there. It's 1080p.
At 120 frames a second, that is impressive, actually.
Yeah, well, they found a way. What they can do is like they can insert frames in between frames, so the frames double the frame rate from 60 up to 120. So I don't know if it's full true. I don't know enough about the technology to know if it's true 120 frames a second, but because if it's in between frames, it'll still be 60 frames a second. But I don't know. It's pretty weird, but yeah.
It's interesting, though.
120 frames a second, because that means that a normal PS4 game will be 120 frames a second.
Well, that's it. I mean,
it'll be 60 capped what your monitor or TV can do, but
exactly.
I mean, I'm totally excited over the Morpheus, and I'm even more excited the fact that a slight software modification can bring even more to the PS4 as well.
Yeah, that's what it's like. The VR is not like I'm not sold 100% on VR yet.
Yeah, no, as I've said before, it's like I've had a play around with the Oculus Rift on the DK1, and yes, like I mean, anybody who follows the development of that will know like the DK2 was much better on the resolution, and the picture quality they put out. The DK1 was quite blurry. It's one of these things. It's like I love the concept of it. I love the execution. However, there's certain things from a gaming standpoint that are very, very apparent, and that is, if you're playing something like, when I'm playing on my PC, I've got my Naga with its 12 buttons on the side, and I've got my keyboard and blah, 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 whatnot. And a lot of what I do is muscle memory. But at least I can see the damn things when I want to look down. When you're in a fully enclosed environment like the Oculus Rift, you've lost periphery vision, that although there was a little bit light on the demo model that I used that was kind of leaking in, it's a case of, it's like, man, that just becomes cumbersome after a while. Now, if you're going to sit down for a long gaming session, like if I sat down in front of my steering wheel and pedals and was playing a racing game, that'd be immersive, but I don't play that for any more than like half an hour, 45 minutes at a time.
I can't see it being any use to any other game other than like a racing game, that type of game, because I've never used it, but one of my friends who works for Sony, he works for Sony Online, he got to use one at GDC last year or the year before, and he confirmed one of my worst fears about it is, he played a first-person shooter demo game that they had on it, and it's like, well, okay, so I'm going around, and there's a guy to my right, so I'll look to my right, my body is still facing forward, because that's where my keyboard and mouse are.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I'm playing with a pad, it might not be too bad, but I'd literally have to like turn my whole body, but my guy's not really turning that much. So it's I don't really see it being very good for that. And then you get to think games like like RPGs or RTSs and things like that, and it's like, what good's looking around going to do you on that? It's not going to do you any good because you need to be able to snap back to your guys quickly and things like that. So I'm not 100% sold on for the current generation, for the games that I play and the games that I like. I'm not 100% sold on this.
But it's like, I mean, VR in general is not exactly a new thing, is it? I mean, the only reason I'm kind of a bit, I would say, worried to try it is just in case somehow or other the Lawnmower Man pops up and kicks my ass. I might even get sucked in, and all my bodily juices get sucked in.
Yeah, if the old rumors are true, if someone rips it off your head while you're in the middle of a game, your brain somehow gets stuck in it. I don't know how that would ever work, but
if you die in the VR world, you're dead in real life.
From a physics standpoint, I think that could be possible.
We'll get some quantum computers and just download our brains into the virtual network.
What I'll do, Outcast, is we'll get you the demo one when they come out for like public release, and what I'll do is I'll sit there with a car battery and some jump leads, and so we'll get a feed off your screen, and when your health gets really really low,
just zap the tits off me.
Exactly.
I'll never really want to use it unless I'm in some sort of spherical, like, I don't know, holding sphere type thing and spinning around and round in the middle of a dark room.
Did you see
headset on?
Like the Gadget Show, which for people who don't know is a UK show about gadgets, funnily enough. They, back in their series when they were good, they built
that's a scathing comment.
They built this like immersive first-person shooter simulator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was based on like a rolling floor, so like when you walked, it moved, so you just stood in the same place, and when you stopped, it stopped, and it was 360, and like it tracked your movement, and you're looking, and it moved it onto big screens and things like that. Now, for me, VR, that's what is needed for a VR to be exciting.
Yeah, you need full body interaction.
Yeah, because what they did was they used like the gun thing you get for like the iPhone, where you put your iPhone in where the sights would be, and then there's a full like assault rifle style holder. That's the controller they used. So like they actually had the gun up, and when he moved it, it moved the character and things like that, and it was extremely well done. But that's what you need for a VR style. You get your headset on, and when you look around, one of the reviews I'm going to be putting up on my channel soon enough is for, I picked up this small, it's kind of like Google Cardboard, but it's made of plastic, and it's a VR headset that you put your phone in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So I got that delivered today, so I've been testing that out, and as a technology, it's quite cool. It works really well. You look around, and on the screen you're actually looking around and things like that. But I pretty much, like, after about 2 apps, I ran out of things to do with it.
It's one of these things, and it's like my caveat for VR. Excuse me, has always been I quite agree with you fully. Like, so flight simulators, driving simulators, that sort of thing, VR is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
For first-person shooters, when it comes to the stage where I have to rappel through the living room window to get full immersion in Call of Duty, that's when I'm stopped playing. When I actually damage my surroundings and myself, that's the time when it's gone too far.
The first Call of Duty game,
Exactly. You know what though? I would pay money to see those people. Now we know there's certain people out there who might buy expensive modified pads to be able to drop shot. I want to see you do that in a VR environment.
Garbage in!
And see how quickly you get back up. It's like, oh, my pride. It's like, Dave, stand up, Dave. I can't. My nuts are in my throat. It's like, it's not going to end well.
It's like, and I've just crushed my chest.
It's like, oh, there's a reason they don't do this in real life.
Like, they've got the VR headset on. Wait a minute, where's my lag switch? I can't see my lag switch.
It's over there somewhere. Oh, I've just switched the lights off. Oh, I've switched the TV off.
Damn it, power!
Why is the Hoover?
Phillips, you.
Why is the Hoover on? Oh, I can't work this out anymore. But
Kettle's wild.
Oh, excellent coffee. But oh man, that would be so awesome. I'd actually pay money for that. But I'm going to draw proceedings to a close. I'm going to finish off on one final tech story for this evening.
We're finishing off already.
Yeah,
God, it's only been what, 30 minutes.
Yeah. You don't have to edit this shit. So I've said that before. I'll say it again. But I think probably one of the most interesting / annoying / amazing / really annoying stories for this week for me in a personal standpoint, and it's one I know Rich has had interest in, has been Pebble and the new sexy ass Pebble Time, and obviously the Kickstarter, which they had to raise $500,000 and I think from the latest reports that I saw, they got like 24 days left. It might be touch and go whether they'll make it or not. And I'll admit maths was never my strong point, but let's see, carry the 3, yeah, the remainder. Yeah, okay, so they're currently sitting at $14.2 million.
I love it. It's like, as I was telling you guys earlier on, I've backed this because I never got the original Pebble. And I think I was underestimated because I'm actually thinking about it now. I know exactly what the figure was when I backed it. And when I backed it, it was at $65,000. Or pounds, sorry, because I'm in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day when I come onto it, it was at about 6 million. And I was like, this is bloody overnight. It's trumped up by that amount of money. But there's some really cool features they've brought out with it, you know. It's one thing I do love is, you know, they've got so much money now, I think they've just thought, like, let's just do all this stuff with it.
Exactly.
And one of the things I absolutely love that they're doing is they've released what they've called smart straps.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is a technique, basically they're allowing hardware developers and software developers to develop straps which can have like hardware circuitry in them to connect into the Pebble to do things. So like one of the suggestions is like, oh, someone can develop like an NFC strap so you can pay for things with the strap of your watch.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of stuff like that in it, and I think that's pretty cool what they're doing with that.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Well, it's one of these things is like the reason why it's annoying is I've got the original Pebble, and I love my Pebble. I really, really do. It's like, from a stylistic standpoint, it's like, you guys know me, you know I like my watches and such.
Mm-hmm.
I like how it looks. It's got a lovely, simple, elegant styling to it. I love the fact the battery lasts a whole goddamn week on a single charge. I love the fact that I can have my phone away in a pocket or a bag, and it's like, you know, if I'm walking down the street and I've got my headphones on and I'm listening to my tunes, my phone will start ringing. So yeah, I can be on my bike, have a phone in the backpack, I can be selecting the tracks on my watch. Mrs. gives me a call. Oh, I can pick up the call as well. You know, I don't have to do anything over and above and it's super simple stuff. But there's little day-to-day application, and I love that. It's like it is one of these little things that, you know, the ability to check, see if a message is important without pulling the phone out. You know, if I'm doing something at work where I should be paying more attention, then, you know, you can do it on the slide and nobody needs to know. But obviously, you know, the Pebble Time is going to have far enhanced functionality over and above just this basic stuff. And yeah, super interesting, and I just love it. And I like the styling. They've done it again. It's like some of the smartwatches I've seen, like the Samsung Gear ones, and
the Moto one is the one I hate. The Moto's the worst.
Yeah, the stylistic. I like a watch to look good.
Yeah, it's like I watched, like, because obviously, like, being an Apple guy, I watched the Apple one where Apple unveiled the iWatch or whatever the hell they've actually called it.
The Apple Watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know whether I like it or not, because in some shots you see it and you think, man, that looks quite good, and then other shots you're like, that is about 7 feet high off your wrist. It's so bulky. What the hell is going on with that? And I just wanted like a simple display on it, you know. It's like you look at it and it's like, okay, there's my message. You don't have to like zoom into this like fancy flower shaped thing and stuff. And it's like, don't overcomplicate it. I don't want an iPod Nano on my wrist, because if I wanted that, I'd put an iPod Nano on my wrist, because you've developed a wrist strap for it.
Exactly. Yeah. This is There is a point where you have to say, like, at what point is it adding and at what stage is it taking away? And I think that's where Pebble knocks all the competitors out the park.
Yeah, I was like, see with this smart strap, because one of the things they were saying is like, you know, we could build all of these features into the watch, but then the watch is going to be so huge, you'd have to start wearing on a chain, like a guy from like Public Enemy or whatever it was.
Yes. Let me just check the time.
Yeah, so basically, it's like, so what we've done is we've developed this so people can develop their own. You know, it's like, go out, develop it. You know, they're giving them the resources, well, not the resources, but the
development kits to do it. Yeah,
to do it. You know, here's the development kit, hardware and software. Do it. Let us know what you've done. and you do it. You know, you can change the straps in about 5 minutes. They say, and it's like, I love that. You know, it's like we'd love to be able to do it, but you know, we like what the watch looks like. If we make it, put anything else in it, it's going to be bigger. Put a strap on it. Go for it.
Exactly. Kill the battery time and a whole bunch of other complications. But
Yeah, plus, it's like, you know, you take off the strap, you put on another one depending on what you're doing that day.
super simple. I do like it. And, you know, the fact that it is the highest grossing Kickstarter of all time, you know, we'd be more than happy to trial them if anybody from Pebble's listening. Big fans of your work. Like what you're doing.
Yeah, we'll review them for you.
Yeah. I mean, excellent. It won't be fair. You know, we won't be biased. You know, I'd like to say we're men of integrity. But, you know, if you happen to, you know, send us one, I would probably find it really hard to say anything negative about it.
Yep. All positive from me so far.
Exactly. Wink. Dear.
Shameless.
Indeed. Well, you know, so I've done pretty well. So I was going to do a shameless little plug for something, but I'm just going to bug you guys about that for the remaining week till you pick it up and play it with me.
The joys.
Was that the Source 2 engine that Valve have?
No, that's fine.
Tell us more about that, Rich.
Well, I'm not a big fan of Valve games. I don't like the Source engine. I can always tell when a game is in the system. One of the things I can do is like any game I play and I pick up, I can tell you if it's Source engine or not. That's how much I hate this engine.
Oh my God.
And it's like the problem is like I don't hate the games that are in it because like, you know, I played Left 4 Dead with you, Kahuna, like a couple of times, and you know, it was quite enjoyable to play. I just don't like the way it plays.
Yeah, you've never been a fan of the way. It's one of these things. I think it's like twofold for you. It's like I don't think you like A, how it looks, and B, how it feels.
Plus, it's like Half-Life, so I've just lost you like the rest of your viewers.
No.
That's all.
There's like 4 of us on the whole planet that didn't like Half-Life. And we're coming for you.
And Rich is 60% of them.
The Four Horsemen.
I'm the president and treasurer of the We Hate Half-Life Club.
You gotta love those split personalities.
Indeed. No, but it's certainly interesting things. GDC has certainly given us some interesting things to talk about. But guys, I'm going to draw a line under it there for this week.
So you don't want to mention that the PlayStation 4 has sold over 20 million units?
Well, we could do, but now that we've said it, I don't really feel this need to hammer the point home. No, it's certainly a massive sales milestone for the PS4, and it's one of these things. Is like I think it's interesting from a standpoint. Is I think this may very well be. Obviously, there's still a lot of time to go, but generally speaking, the most powerful console is never won on the sales figures. You know, we had the Wii that won last generation, obviously. You know, just regardless of what you think of the consoles individually, from a sales standpoint, the Wii was an unmatched success.
Well, to be honest, I'd probably flip that on its head and say the only reason the Wii was an unmatched success was because neither Sony nor Microsoft could meet the Christmas demand for their consoles. Everywhere was sold out on it, so people were picking up the Wii just as a console to give at Christmas time.
Well, you know, you can't argue with the numbers. But no, there's certainly that to be said. And
so the Wii, we don't thank Nintendo for it. We thank Sony and Microsoft. Thanks, guys.
We appreciate it. But yeah, certainly not the most powerful console. The Xbox 360 came in second, and the PlayStation 3 third. You go back a couple of generations before that as well. Hell, go back to the 8-bit era, and the Master System was more powerful than the NES. The NES sold way more. And that's always been a kind of archetype that's always continued on, you know, statistically speaking, because you look at the PlayStation X, as the original one was called, versus the
what now?
The N64, you know.
The PlayStation what?
It was designated the PlayStation X.
The PlayStation X?
Yeah, the original grey, you know, you remember the one?
Never heard of it.
You have several of them.
Yeah, never heard of the PlayStation X. I'm not.
We're not buying this. You're making this stuff up.
They're making this shit up right now. PlayStation X.
I hate you, and I hate you. But anyway, my point still notwithstanding.
Yeah, the original X, that was definitely the best console, yeah.
What about the Y? The Y was awesome. Seriously. No, what? No, the Z beats it all.
The Play 64 station, that was my favourite.
I hate you all.
The Sega 64 Saga and Mega Drive was amazing.
Oh, Outcast, you appear to be having technical difficulties. I can't hear you.
But back to like actually what you were saying is it's definitely one of the things because the Sega Saturn and the Dreamcast were pretty decent consoles, and they flopped quite well.
Yes.
So it was the first time, like myself and yourself, Outcast, we picked up and we played Code Veronica on it.
Oh my god.
Our minds were blown as well as other things.
Pants were blown.
It was messy.
Everything. Man, that was awesome, to be honest.
It was a ghost.
Ectoplasm.
Ectoplasm.
But yeah, man, it's like the Dreamcast was like I think it was one of the most underrated one, but I think they were killed by the fact that it didn't really get the support in Europe that it needed.
Yeah, literally all I got was arcade titles.
The Saturn,
plus
I
the
think,
fact
was
is
the
like
biggest one.
you can go online with like the Dreamcast, which was amazing, but in the UK you could only use like free serve.
Oh
And it was
god,
like, well,
yes, with the old Dreamgate, yeah.
Do you
But
want
like in the US, for example, you could get like they give you like a CD, like an internet CD that you put in, and you was allowed to use your own ISP's details because it was all dial-up back then.
Do you want to hear a really good fact that the Sega Mega Drive was actually had online capabilities?
Sweet.
Just throwing that out there. Just how good Sega were doing it back in the day.
Indeed. Happy, happy times. But
Yeah, the Saturn was definitely the biggest flop of all of the. That's what basically where Sega died.
it did start to decline for them.
Well, the
unfortunately.
Mega CD was a bit of a flop too, to be honest. But it was
The 32X. Come on.
The 32X, yeah, the gimmicky 32X, yeah, that people are
I had
expecting a damn fortune for.
I had all of those. I will not hear a bad word said about any of them.
But I think the one good thing is like you had like the Mega Drive, and then you had the Mega CD, like the version ones of them, and it was about 84 foot high.
I thought it was the nicest looking though.
But then you had like the Mega Drive 2.
With the
and,
Mega
like,
CD,
Mega CD
too.
2, and it was like a tiny wee tray that was like half the size of the original Mega Drive, both of them to the side by side.
It just looked so cheap though, you know, like the Mega Drive 2 and the Mega CD 2, they looked so cheap and nasty. And then like the original Mega Drive and the Mega Drive, the Mega CD 1, like the Mega CD 1 just looked like it was like some deck, you know, a CD deck from your, your stereo system sort of thing. It's like, it was really cool, but
Yeah, but it's like the thing is like what you've got to hand to Sega, and I'll make this my closing point on the on the statement, is when you've already
Will you now?
I will indeed. When you've already jumped the shark with bringing out, a CD add-on and a 32-bit expansion port for your console, okay? To then decide, you know what we really need to do? Nintendo's having great success with the Game Boy in the portable games market. What can we do? Well, we've had the Game Gear. That didn't really work.
The Game Gear.
The Lynx, well, that was Atari, but, that didn't really work either. You know what we need? We need a portable version of the Mega Drive and the Mega CD.
oh yeah.
And we got the Mega CD portable, which is probably, like, the most expensive flop in, like, history. This thing was, like, about 600 quid back in the day. And it's like, at what point did you decide, you know what a home console needs to be? Easy to move around the house. There's not much of a market for that, guys. No, this will be great. People will buy this because it's portable. I still need a fucking television to play it, and all we had was cathode ray tubes that weighed more than you and I.
Trying to plug that into your car. It's like,
It's like, okay, right, Dave, today I'm playing the console, you're carrying the screen. Dave?
See, that's what I hated as well about the 32X. It was like, yeah, you got your Mega Drive, you got a power supply for your Mega Drive, done. You got your Mega CD, okay, so that needs a power supply. You got your 32X, which is an adapter that sits in the cartridge. I'm like, that needs a power supply too. Okay, so, Dad, I've just spent all the electricity. I'm sorry, I've just switched on the console. I haven't actually put the game yet.
but the one thing you got to hand towards the Mega Drive was EA games. Oh, they had the battery in it, so they could
hell
do
yeah.
save
For
states and
saving,
stuff.
yeah.
That was like the greatest thing ever.
Oh man, Desert Strike.
PGA Tour.
But yeah, it's I never had a Mega Drive, but I have played one a lot, and I really liked it. I was a Master System man. I love my Master System to
Oh,
death.
Master System rocks, yeah. I actually own more Master System games than Mega Drive games, which is kind of cool, I suppose.
As well, you
I
should.
could never complete Sonic 2 though. It was like
See, that's what I liked about the Master
it
System.
was a
and
really
Mega Drive.
annoying bit where like in order to get past it on this, you had to get all the emeralds, and you had to like float on this bloody hang glider at one point, and I can never keep it like in the air for long enough. So I'd say I can never keep it up long enough, but that's just going to go somewhere else.
That's a discussion for another show.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was a discussion for the start of the show.
Exactly.
But I couldn't like keep it in the air enough, and I just kept dying, and like that was as far as I ever got, and like the entire time I played it, which was a lot.
I do like the Sonic games on the Mega Drive and the Master System, and the fact that they were completely different games as well on each system was just like, yeah. And for some reason, I thought it looked better on the Master System. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. But Mega Drive, come on. That was the starting of when people started importing games from the US. Get the file out.
You know, that was it though. It's like, or you could spend 50 quid and get this adapter thing. The Bumblebee is what I had. And it was like, oh yeah, you can put your imports on top of it, or you can get the file out and just file down the edges. You know, which one did you do? Leave in the comments below.
Indeed, sound off in the comment section. But on that rather bizarre twist of fate from 2015's latest technologies to the best that 1992 had to offer, not quite sure
We
how
could
we
go
did.
far back as the Commodore Amiga and you know the
C64 for the win.
Sinclairs.
But that being said, being the man in control of the recording button, I'm asserting myself now. But to all you guys out there, if you have had the patience, the stamina, and just the dedication to last this long, we thank you very much for sticking with us. If you have any comments about any of the topics we've been discussing this week, please sound off in the comment section below. Love to hear from you, interacting with you guys. Please like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. As Rich has said, he's got some technical review stuff coming up fairly shortly. Outcast has been doing his series of Let's Play on Resident Evil Revelations 2. I am hoping that by the end of this week, if not the start of next week, to have my Dying Light review completed, so please stay tuned for all of those. So, guys, Rich, Outcast, thank you so much for joining me again tonight.
No problem.
No problem.
Jesus, is that you again?
Couldn't you have closed the door before you said that? Oh, man. I just can't work under these conditions anymore. It's too stressful. It's like, you know, I got to sit up like 4 in the morning just finding footage for this, and then, you know, you guys just mock me. It's just, thought you were my friends. But no, it's been a pleasure as always, guys, and as per usual, to anybody who's been listening, thank you so much for sticking with us, and this is SDM Kahuna signing off.